Welcome to today's short course in social media marketing and growth with myself, Barber Joshua P. In my opinion, your true vision for social media should be to use it as a tool to be valued and have a presence within your industry outside of social media. So one of the things I've always wanted to do was I wanted to use social media, and I wanted to use that to help me to have a presence within an industry. So within our great industry, within our barbering industry and our hair industry, I wanted to use social media as a tool to have a presence within that. Social media growth and marketing is not about simply having a big following on social media. It's what does that following mean? Because you can have 100,000 followers, but if there is 100,000 followers who have no relevance to your industry, who are not following you for the things that you want them to be following you for, who are not relevant to your vision and your purpose. Again, one of the things we always talk about on the Online Academy is about enabling yourself to enhance and to grow your own world. To grow your own world, you need to have a community. To enhance yourself as an individual, you need to have a community behind you supporting you. To have a community, you need to communicate. Now, to be able to communicate, you need to have an active, relevant following. Otherwise, you are not communicating appropriately because you are not communicating with the relevant people. And this is what it's all about. There's a lot more to social media than meets the eye. Again, a lot of people see social media and they see you post, it blows up. You post, it blows up. You post, it blows up. All of a sudden you have 100,000 followers. But it doesn't quite work like that. And there's a lot more to it. And that is what we're going to be focusing on today. Understanding how to build and grow your community. How to build and grow your own world and your support system. How to do this appropriately so that you have the relevant people supporting you on your way to your vision. Because let's face it, social media, in essence, isn't important. Social media, for what it is in its simplest form, is not important. Getting likes on photos are not important. Having followers are not important if you're thinking purely about social media as an Instagram platform, as a Facebook platform, as a YouTube platform. But what they can mean for you and your presence within an industry is groundbreaking. I promise you, if you focus on understanding that social media is not about the social media. And think about all of the ethos we've taken from the 1-year course, breaking it down as small as possible, thinking of the smallest picture. Social media as one broad statement is irrelevant to us. Having a presence on social media is not important. In terms of having a presence on Instagram is not important. It isn't. But having a presence within your industry is. And social media can give you a gateway into having a presence within your industry. I myself am living proof that using social media correctly, using social media with and on purpose, now that has relevance to our industry. That has relevance to your career. That has relevance to your growth. I'm going to begin by telling you guys the backstory. So when I started cutting hair, I dropped out of university to start cutting hair. Now, I started a hair page. It was a completely separate page from my old Instagram. Now, to prove the point that I don't care about social media as me as a person, before I cut hair, my social media page was, I think I had like 200 followers, all friends and family. I was only following like 200 people too. I used to post every now and again a photo of me and my girlfriend, me and my family maybe me and my friends. That was it. That was it. I did not use it for any other form. I did not use it for anything else. It was just simply somewhere nice to post photos of me and my life. And I didn't have a purpose behind it. I didn't want to grow it. That was never my aim. My aim has never ever been to have a big social media page. And I think that's one of the key things in growing a social media page. If your focus, as we're saying, if your focus is on growing a social media page, it's not going to work. If your focus is on being relevant within your industry, now that's a true purpose. So I started a social media page for my hair. Now the reason I did this was because I was cutting hair in my kitchen. I was cutting hair in my kitchen and I needed to get more clients, right? So I needed to get some more clients and build and enhance and grow my clientele. So if I needed to grow and enhance the world around me within this industry to allow me to do more hair, it needed to be growing and enhancing my client base. So I was posting the photos of the haircuts I was doing with my family so that my friends would see them and think, it's not too bad, I'm going to let him have a go on my hair. So then my friends were coming for a haircut. Now, when I was posting pictures of my friends and their friends' friends were seeing it, I was getting friends of friends coming to my house for a haircut. And then it was getting to the point where I was getting friends of friends of friends. And people that I didn't even know were coming for a haircut. And then, through that, a local barbershop had found me on Instagram, seeing the work that I was putting out, and they asked me to go and work for them. So I went to work for that shop. Now, I continued my growth within social media to enable myself to grow within the industry. Because this shop, no offense to this shop, I had a great time there. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about the way that I wanted to cut hair. But it was a little small local cheap barbershop. And I knew that's not what I wanted. So I carried on posting, carried on being relentless, carried on growing my social media, because as I was doing it, more local barbers were following me now. So at first it was working with getting clients to follow me. Now it was clients were following me and local barbers were following me. So I then got offered a job in a better shop. There was appointments, a little bit more expensive. Then, as I carried on building and developing my social media and my presence within social media, more and more barbers were following me. Now, a lot of barbers were coming to me for a haircut from different shops. And that is then how I got offered a job in the next shop, which was now a very high-end shop. So within a year, I'd gone from working in a cheaper local shop to a high-end barbershop within the city. All through social media. All because I got given the opportunities from social media. Not because I had a social media presence, but because of who was within that social media community. So I carried on growing, carried on developing, and I was getting then inquiries to go and teach. So I was only 1 year into cutting hair and I was getting inquiries to go and teach. Again, I was less than 1 year into cutting hair. I did not have a presence within the industry. I did not have a presence within the hair industry. But I was growing a presence on social media, which was opening the door for a presence in the industry. It was opening the door to the industry. Now, I still had to walk through that door. I still had to walk through and walk my own path. I still had to carve my way in. I still had to work my way in. I still had to walk down the path, put the effort in to get there, and to continue through there. But the social media, again, was opening the doors. And so I carried on, and I carried on, and I never, ever, ever stopped growing my social media presence, because what I was doing was continuing to grow my own world, continuing to grow the community behind me. And that community behind me was filling up with the right people. And as that community behind me was filling up with the right and relevant people, it was opening more and more doors. And now people from all over the world were asking me to go and teach, to do shows. And it continued on, continued on, continued on. Until today, where we are now watching this through a platform that is nothing to do with Instagram. But you found it on Instagram. And that is the key. I now have a presence relevant and valued in the industry outside of social media. If social media shut down tomorrow, I know I would still sell out classes and I would still have my online academy. I would still be doing shows. I would still be in magazines. I would be doing all of these things outside of social media. I do not rely on social media anymore. But that being said, each and every single one of you will have found this academy through social media, showing you guys that the social media is still, to this day and forevermore, opening the door. It's never going to keep me relevant. It's never going to keep your attention. It's never going to keep me present in the industry. I have to do that myself, with the work that I put out, with the energy that I give, with the value that I bring. And I have to continue to grow all of these things myself. I have to keep doing that myself. Keep working with passion, discipline, relentlessness, all of that myself. But still, social media is opening the door for all of these opportunities. And it will continue to do so forevermore, because I'm seeing it as the value that it can bring to me. Social media is the gateway into having a presence outside of social media. Nowadays, people look to social media first to do research in an industry, to look for who has a presence in an industry. And again, everything in life is about a perception. If you can create the perception that you have value, that you have a presence in the industry on social media, you will have one outside of social media. And that's what we're going to be working through today. We're going to be working through an entire journey of understanding how to build that presence, how to build that value, and how to create that perception. We're going to be working on understanding every little detail on how to grow social media and how to use it to market yourself and the energy you bring. Today you're going to find out just how I managed to build a value and a presence outside of social media by using social media. So this first diagram we can see, guys, this is just a simple understanding of how my follower count went up through the years. So I started my page, I think it was mid to late 2015. Now, I've put 2015 as my starting point and here just as a reference, but yeah. So I started my page mid to late 2015. And then by 2020, we had 100,000 followers and continuing to rise at a rapid rate. But we can see on here just how it actually went up. And I've made this as accurately as humanly possible. So one of the things we're going to be doing later on today is taking this graph and analysing it in a slightly different sense in terms of what things can enhance your growth at certain times. And there's going to be different elements that can enhance your growth at different times through your career. But if we take a look at this in its simple form, we can see that it's not an overnight success. Nothing is ever an overnight success. It's all about building foundations. We can see between 2015 to 2016, it took me that long to get to 1,000 followers. It took me that long to get 1,000 followers because, again, as we talk about all of the time, your growth and your community growth is less about you and more about your community talking about you. Now, what I was doing at the start was obviously I was aiming to get as many clients as possible, and I was using social media to try to get more clients. And so, my community at the start was very small, just a small selection of friends. And it took them a while for me cutting my family's hair for them to let me cut their hair. So then when I started cutting their hair, then their friends wanted a haircut, etc., etc., and it carried on from there. But as you can imagine, that growth is quite slow because for the amount of time it takes them to trust you to cut their hair, then for the amount of time it takes them to feel comfortable with it and enjoying it, and for you to develop your skills, for them to then start talking about it to other people. But at this time, obviously you're usually giving away free, maybe £5 haircuts. And so, because it's cheap, because it's free maybe, people are talking about the haircuts. My friends are starting out barbering, he needs some more clients, he's doing free haircuts. As soon as people hear free, bang, they're in. So, the world grew. The world grew, not rapidly, but it grew. And it was developing. And more people were talking about the haircuts that I was doing. And if you want to see some of the haircuts that I did right at the start, honestly, go all the way down my Instagram and all of the haircuts from the very beginning are still there. And you can see that for just starting out, I wasn't that bad. And so people were seeing for these free haircuts, they weren't that bad. So people were coming and the world was growing and growing. So then between 2016 to 2017, as I said, that was the year then of gaining true comfortability in what I was doing and confidence in what I was doing and understanding. And so that then is when the world started to boom a little because I was now getting more and more clients following me, yes, but I was also, because the quality of the work was increasing, because people were surprised at how little I'd been cutting hair, barbers were starting to get on board too, and barbers were following. More and more barbers were following me. So you can see now, my world has grown from just clients, from just friends, family and clients, to now friends, family, clients and barbers and local barbers. And at this stage, yes, it is pretty much down to just local barbers. It could be odd international barber, but mainly local barbers. But still, it's a whole new realm of people to be following. It's a whole new realm of people to help grow and enhance my community and my world. So my world has now developed. 2016 to 2017 was a huge development in my world because it went from clients to clients and barbers. Then between 2017 to 2018, that was then the true years of growth, as I would say. The true years of developing and cementing yourself as a presence within the industry, really breaking down the door. So 2017 and into 2017, coming towards 2018, was the breakthrough era. That was when I started to be asked to go and teach and to do shows, and I started to push myself into the industry. And so I was getting opportunities because of social media. I was getting opportunities because of the growth and